right. Looks like we've called the Ghostbusters yet again. Um, Maybe some coming out of retirement, some not, to fight some ghosts. But this time in a little bit more of a colder setting, I guess. But yeah, let's see what IMDb has to say about this. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes the evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from the second ice age. Um, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Pretty big task here for the Ghostbusters here. A ghost that wants to start an ice age. Interesting way to go about it. Um, but yeah, okay, so uh, obviously a newer movie here, been in theaters and so forth. Try to keep it spoiler free as possible. I don't know that there are too much twists and turns here, but we'll try to keep it as plain as possible here. Um, I will say that I wanted to see, I should have seen it, but I didn't see it. I still haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, the one previous to this, I don't know why. I wanted to see it, and it just kind of slipped by, and I never did. So I know that some of the characters in this one were kind of introduced there, so I don't really know how everything came about. I just from kind of knowing and reading from when that one came out, and then as this one kind of opened, I just kind of get the gist of some of the new characters, and as they mentioned here, the mix of the new and the old. So I just kind of jumped in there and kind of picked up who these new characters were. After a few minutes into the film, as they kind of reintroduced them, and then obviously we all know the old characters. Um, but yeah, so I guess since I didn't see that one, I didn't really get to say anything about having Ghostbusters back again, and I guess it's a cool thing. I mean, everybody's kind of waited a long time to see if the Ghostbusters would ever do another movie. It's obviously not the original cast. Obviously, can't do the whole original cast anymore. Um, but so that kind of changes things. Um, Obviously, I never reviewed it. I did see the Ghostbusters. Actually, well, I'll correct myself on that in a second. But the Ghostbusters with the female cast. I did watch some of that movie, but that is one of the few, I would say, bigger, more known movies that I actually turned off. I couldn't like it just um, was not the same. It just wasn't. I couldn't deal with that. So no, I did not see that complete movie. Maybe half. I don't know, but yeah, it was too much trying of too much comedy. But I'm not here to review that one. I just say I did not like that one. Um, so I guess they tried that, and then obviously the one previous to this one, probably obviously worked a little bit better. So now here we are to do this one, um, but yeah, I guess it's been a long time. I guess it would have been really hard to do. Obviously we can't do, like I said, and Ghostbuster fans know you can't do the original cast because unfortunately, we'll just leave that at that. But uh, they kind of mix in, and I think some of the older characters have a little bit bigger role in this one than maybe some of the others. Um, as far as get we'll talk about the story in a second, but as far as the old cast returning, it is good to see them. Whatever, I will say that Bill Murray, it seemed like he was the hardest one to get to do it, from what I understand, what I remember, hearing about this movie unfolding, and I don't know if it was just me, but it didn't seem like he didn't have the hugest role in this one, um, and he obviously had probably the biggest role in the originals. Even though it is a group of them, it's still he was a standout of the group. Um, but I think it's kind of it was definitely the reverse here, at least in my eyes. And to me, it almost seemed like he didn't want to be there. I mean, I don't know how much convincing they had to do to get him to do it. But from what I saw, or watching it, to me, it didn't seem like he wanted to do it. I don't know. And he kind of tried to kind of stay in the same kind of character, and kind of be that same kind of funniness. But to me, either he was not giving great lines, or he just didn't deliver them the same way. I don't know. Like, to me, it was just weak on from what he did there. Um, the I thought, like Dan, did a good job, and I think Eddie, I always forget his name, but I think they did a good job in their roles in it. Um, but Ernie, I should say, Ernie Hudson. I don't know why I say, but yeah, and they had probably bigger role in this one, and I thought they did a pretty good job. So they seemed like they wanted to at least be there. I don't know about Bill, but I guess that's what I'll say about the old cast. And it was a little of a shame not having Rick in the movie, but whatever. Um, as far as the movie itself, it was an interesting story, kind of introducing this wintry ancient ghost person, whatever creature that's gonna come and kind of freeze the city. And the way they kind of unfold that, the movie kind of starts off a little bit of an exciting scene there, chasing a ghost through the city, kind of using some new technology in ways with drones and whatever to try to catch it. So they try to kind of add some, new tech and new, kind of really put the Ghostbusters in the now. Obviously, when they had their little proton packs or whatever back in the day, and some of the things they did back there, was kind of interesting. And then, to kind of merge that with some of, what we have available now, was kind of interesting. Again, I don't know if they used any of that in the previous movie to this, but I thought that was pretty cool. And then, kind of in typical Ghostbuster fashion, I guess, kind of bringing back the old ones, the originals. They kind of spend that same theme of you've made a mess of the city. We're gonna get rid of the Ghostbusters, but then at the end of the day, the Ghostbusters are gonna save the day. So we gotta have the Ghostbusters and keep them and celebrate them. So they kind of went along with that theme. So that was fun to see again. But yeah, obviously the kid from Stranger Things in it, he's in this movie, whatever. I still waiting Stranger Things, waiting for that to happen. Whenever I see one of them in another thing, I'm just like, it's hard to take me out of that. But he does a good job, and so does the young lady in this movie. Um, as well. So, I guess it's a little bit different because, you had the original Ghostbusters were, a bunch of different guys, and here it's more of a family unit here. Um, so it's kind of a different team makeup in the way of fighting the ghost. But so yeah, that's kind of interesting. But overall, I think they did a fairly good job. It was not, it had some fun moments in it. Probably not the funniest of the Ghostbusters. Obviously, when you have Bill and Dan back in the day, two big people there in comedy. That's hard to top. It does have some funny moments here. Some movie moments that make you kind of smile and whatever. I don't think it ever got, as funny as some of the moments back in the day. Slimer's in the movie. He's a little bit different. I didn't really care for the new Slimer. I don't know. He just didn't do it for me. Looked a little too, like, I don't know, just more. I don't know. Slimer was just a fun kind of ghost, and he slimed you. This one kind of looked a little more like uglier, and just like, yeah, I don't know. You just don't want to see this Slimer. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna give Slimer a thumbs down in this one. Um, but he had some interesting moments and timing there. Uh, but as far as his look, I didn't like it. I prefer the original look of him, so I'll say that. Um, again, it was pretty cool seeing the when the city kind of started to freeze. It was really good to look at, see, and what they did there. Um, I did, I try to stay away from, even though I promote trailers all the time, try to stay away from it, but I did catch a little bit of it. And, all the snow effects and whatever were pretty cool, at least, and good to look at. So, that was a good thing for the movie. And, the bad guy ends up being pretty cool. And I guess they introduce a character that kind of plays opposite of the bad guy and is there to kind of stop the bad guy, but is not, the most well trained to stop the bad guy. And I thought he was a funny character and a good little side ad there, to kind of throw into the mix and kind of take the comedy in a different direction. So I did like that. And yeah, this ancient evil person, ghost, whatever. It was pretty intimidating, and had a good way to fight their trying to phase him with their guns. That kind of was interesting. So uh, I thought overall it was a solid thing. I tend to complain about remakes, reboots, and whatever. Obviously, this is a second one. I didn't see the previous one, as I've said 500 times now. But I'm not gonna overall complain. It's good that they mixed in some of the old characters, to kind of keep you in it for everybody who's watched the original. Obviously, maybe some of those out there who have not never saw Ghostbusters and whatever, you have some other familiar faces in there that you might relate to more, that also do a good job with the movie. So it's kind of bringing a lot of people about, together, new and old, to kind of continue it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do another movie. I don't know how much money this one made, or if they did well enough to exceed what the studios wanted from it. But I think with the newer cast here, if they want to do it again, um, I wouldn't say no if they kind of come up with something kind of interesting. Maybe they want to, I guess it's, for us old school Ghostbuster fans, it's good to see the original, some of the originals in there, but I guess depending the direction they want to go with this, if they want to expand this out, maybe in the next one, maybe phase out the older ones. I know it's sad. I know we want to see them, but, if they're not truly going to be the ones fighting the ghost, I mean, how much are they really needed in the movie? I know it's kind of their franchise to work with, but I mean, now we've had them. They're there. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of what Bill did in this movie, so it'd be hard to see him ever do this again. And after this, I would, whatever. It's past him and so forth, whatever. So let's just move on from that. Um, but yeah, overall, so I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna give it three pools of blood. I liked it. Obviously, not gonna go back and compare it to the originals, too much. I don't think it ever reached anywhere close to those. Either on a comedy level or what they did with the ghost, whatever. But still, I think it was a good Ghostbusters movie for maybe this generation and what um, you would expect from maybe a movie that's done now. Um, but yeah, I guess that's what it is to say about Ghostbusters. So that is three pools of blood out of five. I guess Ghostbusters doesn't have a lot of blood. It's not about that. So no blood and guts in here for me for this one. So yeah, with that, horrorgory-reviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and video. Obviously, mostly video reviews of quite a while now. But if you want to go back in time on the blog there are written reviews, believe it or not. And So if you're just interested in the video reviews, like, subscribe, do all those things that everybody wants to do. If not, no problem, no worries. It is truly okay. But I thank you regardless for spending a few minutes here with me. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. So feel free to reach out there. If you want to talk about Ghostbusters, go back in time, reminisce, or talk about anything in horror, or you have something for me to review, feel free to reach out there. And down in the comment section, what you thought about the movie. Do you want another Ghostbusters, or have you had it? This is it. Were you really mad, upset that they did this? And I'd be curious if anybody else also was kind of turned off by Bill's performance in this movie. Or if it was just me. I don't know. But with that, again, I thank you, and I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.